Welcome to IMAX2. My name is Louis Shell, and today we're going to talk about the Canon 5D Mark IV. Finally, after 4 years, Canon released the 5D Mark IV. What are the different specs of that camera, and what are the things that you need to know before you go ahead and pre-order that camera? We're going to talk about just that. Welcome back to IMAX2. We are talking about the new Canon 5D Mark IV, recently released by Canon after 4 years finally. A lot of people have been waiting for that camera. Was it worth the wait? And what are the things you need to know before you go ahead and pre-order? Let's go down. Let's talk about the different spec. I have my iPad on my hand and we're going to go ahead. 30.4 megapixel, full frame sensor, ISO 100 to 32,000, the expandable to 50 to 1 or to 400. It can shoot, the Canon 5D Mark II can also shoot up to 7 frames per second. He has 61 focus point and 41 of them are cross type. 4K video, finally, Canon put 4K on a video. 4K video at 30p and 24p. He have a built-in Wi-Fi, NFC, GPS, and connectivity. So for photography, I believe this camera is a very good camera. 30.4 megapixel. This is a very good camera. I'm not going to talk about photo. I'm just going to be focused on video because Canon itself really focus on advertising the 4K they put on that camera. And let's see how good that 4K is, because Canon, go ahead, I can tell you, is pushing hard on that 4K, and it's only shoot 4K at 30 frames per second, and most people was waiting for a camera that can shoot 4K at 60 frames per second. I can tell you right there, this is a letdown. And that camera, even if it's a full frame camera, when you shoot on that camera in 4K, the sensor will be cropping. It can only shoot crop 4K videos. And what that tells you, it has nothing on the GH4 that is already can shoot a 4K at 30 frames per second and has already a crop sensor. And when you put that meta bonds on that GH4, basically you're using a GH4 when you're shooting that 4K on that full frame. Is it worth for you to put $3,000 on $500 on that body? It's for you to decide. Are you a real fan of Canon, or are you somebody that is looking to get the most spec for your money on any type of camera? So it's for you to decide. And the 4K files are so large. I'm telling you, those 4K files that Canon put out on a motion JPEG, they do not have a codec. They do not have a codec that can downsize that file for you. So let's say you shoot about 30 minutes video on a GH4, 30 minutes video on a GH4, and let's say you have a 20 gigabyte of file. For the Canon, it's gonna almost triple that amount. This is basically, you're gonna have some kind of big file, and that bigger file, I can tell you, it doesn't mean you have a better file on your hands. It's basically a 4K video you still cannot use. And I'm sure Canon do that, and they know exactly what they're doing, because Canon usually want people to go ahead and buy the upper class of camera that costs about sometimes $13,000, $16,000, $18,000. Do I have that kind of money to put on a camera? No. I'd rather go ahead and find some other company that are giving me the same kind of camera for my box and buy that one instead of putting $3,500 on a body. That's going to be pretty hard for me to use that 4K file. Personally, for me, shooting video, if you're going to pre-order that camera for photo, please go ahead and do. But I see a lot of people are fighting over, okay, Canon is this, Canon in that. Me, one thing, I'm running a business. I'm not trying to go ahead and buy, because it's Canon, I'm shooting with Canon. No, I'm going to go ahead and buy some camera that is a camera that don't cost me that much, and I still can give some professional work, like the GH4, the Sony A7S. And like I can say it, Canon has made a great camera before, and that camera I own it. It's the 5D Mark II. This is one of the best camera that's gonna go down the line because they are the first one to introduce a video on a DSLR, and ain't nobody can take that from them. But since then, Canon been upgrading, just little upgrading, you can barely use them. And the next camera I believe that's gonna go down the line as a great camera, there's two of them, is the GH4 for introduce 4K on a DSLR or DSLM, however you wanna call them, and also the A7S for that low light. It's like magic. But if anybody think this camera that Canon recently put out, the 5D Mark IV, is the best camera, is that camera gonna go down to the line as one of the greatest camera, I can tell you no, because most of the things that Canon introduced in this camera, we've seen them before. They advertise their autofocus system, which look pretty good, because I don't have that camera on my hand yet, but I watch all over when they have that introduction the first day that camera was released. I can tell you the AF autofocus system look pretty good, but however, we've seen this thing before. They are advertising 4K. You know what? GH4 already put 4K a long time on that video, and they didn't even give us the 4K at 60 frames per second to say, okay, they are the first one to do it. It's 30 frames per second. There is no difference between the GH4 and what they're offering right now. And as you already know, I said it before, those files on those 4K files are gonna be so large, you're probably gonna have to upgrade your machine. To upgrade a computer, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money for you to upgrade any computer right now for you to work this big file, and they're gonna eat up your space on your hard drive. Another thing that bothered me a lot about that camera is the fact that Canon don't put no new technology on that camera, like a CFast card. They keep on using the same CF and SD card. I was expecting at least for them to put a CFast card, you know, one of the new technology. So we can see that Canon doesn't build anything for the future. And if this bigger file on those 4K was like, you know, kind of to help boost up the quality, it doesn't do anything. So if you need to know this thing before you go ahead and order this camera, because I do not believe this is the camera for you if you're shooting video. For photo, it's a different story if you want to go ahead and upgrade. But if I have a Canon 5D Mark III, I will never put any $3,500 on that new camera, because I don't think, personally for me, it would worth it. And for video, shooting video, still 30 minutes of length of video. Canon, come on, you gotta wake up, because when you're shooting on a GH4, it's basically how long your battery lasts. That's how long you're gonna shoot. So if this camera already putting this kind of thing on those DSLR, or if you want a DSLM camera, what about you? You the one that first introduced us to the video on a DSLR. You need to go ahead and lift your feet and do something to take the advantages, because not many people got $18,000, $20,000, $13,000, $10,000 to buy your upper class camera. You gotta feed the bottom something to hold on to. Personally, I will not be upgrade. And my Canon 5D Mark II, I'm not gonna sell it, because I know this camera gonna go down the line as one of the best camera Canon ever made, and I'm gonna leave it right here to keep on shooting with it when I can. And when it's tired, I put it somewhere. Since I already put it on the bench, I'm using most of the time my GH4, because this is the best for what I do. This is the GH4 is the best for me, and I cannot wait for the GH4 to release the GH5, because there's a lot of rumor that it's gonna shoot 4K at 60 frames per second and have a 6K video at 30 frames per second. Let's hope that the GH4 go that route, and a 10-bit 422. So Canon, you need to lift off your feet, see if you can keep up with the next line of the Lumix line, the GH4 line, and the Sony lines that are doing well. Even Sony got their own problem themselves with overheating. But however, as the pioneer of putting video on a DSLR, I believe Canon time. It's time to do something about how you sending us this kind of camera that we probably, you know, don't have any drive to go ahead and say, you know what, this camera, I need to have it because this is the best out there. I really hope this video was informative to you. If you are a fan of Canon and you think I was harsh to Canon, I'm sorry, I can only say You know, I've been doing that job for over 15 years now. I know what I need to shoot any type of video, but this was not introduced for me. For me to do my work, there was nothing that was introduced to that Canon 5D Mark IV that made me personally want it to say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and invest some money because this is the right tools. If you're shooting video, go ahead, you can go ahead, you want it, go ahead and pre-order. But for myself, I will not be pre-order. I just want to have my hands on that camera just to test it, to see what he can do. And if I pre-order that camera, I only pre-order it for that and return it right after I use it, because I don't think this camera is for me to use to go ahead and shoot video out there. And if you like the video, you can go ahead, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't too, because you're just a Canon fan, because I know there's a lot of you out there that is just a fanboy, not because, okay, this camera, you cannot see it, you just love Canon. No, me, I'm not like that. If Lumix put some camera out there, the GH5, it's no good, I would go ahead and sit right here and make another video to say I don't believe this is what was right, to ask me to pay that much money for some spec you put on a camera that I cannot even use. So I think that's gonna do it for me. If you love the video, give it a thumbs up, and if not, you can go ahead, give it a dislike. I'll be fine with it, because one thing, I know what I said and I will stand behind it. For photography, I believe this is a pretty good camera, but for video, I don't think Canon was thinking anything about video when he make that 5D Mark IV, besides putting the 4K video at 30 frames per second on it, which we already have from Sony and the GH4, and I can't wait for the GH5 to come out. I'm out.